There's a new national programme which will be known as the Connecting Care Programme, CCP, and the Welsh Government has appointed the Digital Healthcare Wales as the lead organisation for this. As part of that, there was a prior information notice that was published in October 23, and this was to obtain views on the draft architecture approach, proposed timelines and associated procurement approach, along with seeking to understand the market capacity, capability and interest. And in November 23, that request for information was sent out, and a company has been commissioned on behalf of Digital Health Wales to undertake the market engagement exercise and make recommendations on approach strategy for procurement. And that exercise has been concluded. The recommended approach was an assisted buy model using the health and social care framework, and major social care players, and there's a few groups listed in there, are aligned with the framework. The use of pre-existing framework saves time, particularly in the process of procurement and contract award, and also ensures a robust process of evaluations being carried out. And also more importantly as well, it's a most cost-effective solution for engaging the market. One of the key recommendations of the company that was set up on behalf of the regional implementation team was that there should be area collaboration. And as Avail is only one of two authorities, and is the only one that's currently using WCITS, it seemed appropriate that we'd look at that, linking up with Cumtaf Mechanic as a regional team to enable that expertise in the procurement and the implementation. So this proposal then is to look at that. It's got some timelines within the report. I think I've covered off the actual groups, organisations, and authorities that we'll be collaborating with. There will be. It's interesting that while we will be sharing resources and joint documentation, and there's an agreement that's going to be set up. As with all these things, you learn things as part of the project goes on. So it's important that we've got break clauses, and they've been agreed at certain key project stages, depending on where we are. One of the key pieces of information that many of us as members are aware of is many IT projects sort of seem to expand, don't they, on scope and finances. So it's important to recognise that even within this report, the funding will come from the Welsh Government, but as yet, we haven't got the details of that. However, with the timelines and everything else, we still got to move forward with it. But we're reassured that that will come down in some form or other. So in the report, it does mention that we haven't got funding details of that, but at least we can find out during the procurement exercise how much that's going to cost, and we can work out whether we as a council go forward with it. So I think that's important for us to recognise. The key part also is that we've got expertise by joining this collaboration, and I think that's a key point that we need to be aware of. Okay, so I'll go to the recommendations. I'm asking that approval be granted to the council, enter into an agreement with Merthyr Tydfil County Borough Council, Rhondda Cynon County Borough Council, and Bridgend County Borough Council regarding procurement of a replacement social care system. 2, that the delegated authority be given to the Director of Social Services and the procurement lead in the Vale of Glamorgan to negotiate and agree the final terms of the agreement with the other councils and enter and arrange execution of that agreement. I would also like to add a third recommendation, which is we delegate the authority to be given to the Monitor Officer, Head of Legal and Democratic Services, in consultation with the Director of Social Services, to execute all legal documentation required in respect to the agreement to procure a new social care system. If there aren't any questions, Leader, I'd like to move. Thank you.
Thanks, Eddie. Yes, happy to second that. I think it's good to be making preparations now well ahead of time to procure a new system, and we'll look forward to following progress as we move forward. So happy to second, and I can see that everybody here is nodding and there's no dissent online. So that's they're agreed. Those recommendations are agreed. Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you.
So I don't have any urgent items, but as mentioned, we do have one item for discussion on today's agenda under part 2. That was linked to the agenda item 5 earlier. These are matters that are considered to be confidential, and therefore the meeting will need to move into private session where such matters can be discussed, as said under part 2. Therefore, I will ask for Cabinet to agree to move part 2 and ask the Cabinet Officer to stop the recording of this open session to ensure that no members of the public are present after this point, and only allow relevant parties to remain to hear the detail of the items to be discussed. Following the meeting, the outcome of the part 2 discussions will be formally captured as part of the minutes of the meeting and will advise all parties of the final decisions of the Cabinet for the relevant items. So in terms of moving that forward, can I therefore formally move part 2?
And I'll second part 2.
Thank you. And therefore ask the Cabinet Officer to ensure only relevant parties remain from this point on, and for the live stream and recording to be stopped, please. And if the Democratic Services Officer could confirm that the live stream and recording